You'll always be my day one. You'll always be my day zero. 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 You'll always be my day. You'll always be my day. Thankful you're mine. I got lucky finding you. I won't make the day that I came across you. 'Cause when you're with me, I don't feel blue. Not a day goes by that I would not redo. Everybody wants to love.
Yeah, that's right.
It's easy when you try hard enough. Yeah, that's right. You'll always be my day one, day zero when I was no one. I'm nothing by myself, you and no one else. Thankful you're my day one. I'm thankful you're my day one. When I first met you, it just felt right. It's like I met a copy of myself that night. I don't believe in fate as such, but we were meant to be together, that's my hunch. Everybody wants true love. It's out there if you look hard enough, enough, enough. You'll always be my day one, day zero when I was no one. I'm nothing by myself, you and no one else. Thankful you're my day one. Hour by hour, minute by minute, I got mad love for you, and you know it. I would never leave you on your own. I just want you to know you'll always be my day one, day zero when I was no one. I'm nothing by myself, you and no one else. Thankful you're my day one. You'll always be my day one, day zero when I was no one. I'm nothing by myself, you and no one else. Thankful you're my day one, day one, day one. This might sound OTT, oh, but you plus me equals a feeling that I just cannot explain. Hey, BRB, oh, and I'm in all three. I need a minute to myself to comprehend. What did I just see through my eyes for me? 'Cause I can't believe she's talking to me. I'm sat here just hoping my dreams come true. So are you? Just dance. Wrap both your arms around my body and dance like you were with nobody. I could not care what anyone thinks. Definitely not after those drinks. I found my weakness in the shape of you. There's a kind going on? It's tricky, giving the impression that this isn't a dead end. How did this come on so quickly? Give me a sec, cause I should check I still have friends. Wait, where have they gone? Have they upped and left? How long have I been here? My time is a mess, and I'm sat here just hoping my dreams come true. But I was afraid this would happen, that this would happen. And I only came for a quick one, and now I'm on one. Just dance, wrap both your arms around my body, and dance like you were with nobody. I could not care what anyone thinks. Definitely not after those drinks. I have found my weakness in the shape of you. There's a kind of sweetness oozing out of you.
Dear delegates, honorable Secretariat officers, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we are greatly delighted to welcome you all to the opening ceremony of the Model UN of the Russian Far East Annual Conference 2020. Model United Nations is the students' educational activity that unites more than 400,000 university and high school students worldwide. Model UN gives a unique chance to try on the roles of diplomats who represents the interests of various states within the United Nations. Model United Nations gives you an opportunity to use the power of your voice and apply eagerness to change the world. Model UN communities play a great role in shaping our world and preparing its future leaders. They unite progressively thinking people, and our organization is not an exception. The current Secretary General of the United Nations, His Excellency Mr. Antonio Guterres, expressed his vision of the Model UN movement in the following words. At Model UN, you broaden your horizons. By learning and networking, you can be a part of the UN's efforts to establish peace, secure human rights, and enable all people to live in dignity. This time, MUNRFE is privileged to receive the official message of the UN Secretary General to our conference. Please look at the screen.
Our world faces the biggest test since the Second World War. In these trying times, I welcome the holding of your Model UN activity. Your commitment to international cooperation is essential for tackling the COVID-19 pandemic. We can only defeat the coronavirus if we do so globally. We must come together and support the most vulnerable. The United Nations is undertaking a wide-ranging response calling for a global ceasefire and working to control the pandemic, save lives, mitigate the socio-economic damage, fight stigma, and recover better. I draw great hope from seeing your generation mobilized to address the challenges of our time and to build a healthier, more equitable and sustainable future for all. I wish you a successful Model UN.
Despite the current challenges, have never been before, thanks to the contemporary technologies that allow young leaders from various countries to become part of the international Model UN movement. For the first time, MNRFE organizes the annual conference in the online format and seeks to conduct it at the highest level possible. Inspired by the significance of the Model UN movement, MUNRFE is supporting its values and striving to pursue its ideals. Model United Nations of the Russian Far East has a 19-year experience of conducting MUN conferences, and today, jointly with the Far Eastern Federal University, it welcomes all the delegates to the MUNRFE Annual Conference 2020. Model United Nations of the Russian Far East is a non-profit-making, self-governing youth organization devoted to facilitating the development of leadership skills and competences in the field of youth diplomacy among the young generation of the Russian Far East. Established on the 1st of October 2000, today MUNRFE unites two branches in Vladivostok and Blagoveshchensk, based at Far Eastern Federal University and Amur State University respectively, with around 100 members and 2,000 alumni all over the world, as well as a wide partnership network that includes universities, the UN and the UN family organizations, regional and international NGOs. It is our great honor to introduce our keynote speaker, willing to inspire you for future successes. The MNRFE Annual Conference 2020, along with previous numerous events conducted by MNRFE, would not have become a reality without our strategic partnership with the Far Eastern Federal University. The university has been provided invaluable support in terms of project preparation and realization. FEFO is committed to broaden its partnerships with other institutions all around the world. MUNRFE is devoted to making connections on a youth-to-youth level and by all means sharing our experience and best practices with others. We always highly appreciate the offered assistance and hope to maintain our crucial cooperation with the Far Eastern Federal University. On this note, I draw your attention to the video message of FEFO Deputy Vice President for International Relations, Dr. Evgeny Evgenyevich Vlasov.
Dear participants and guests of Model United Nations of the Russian Far East Annual Conference 2020, it's my greatest pleasure to welcome you to the Far Eastern Federal University, even though in online format. Far Eastern Federal University is the largest higher education and research institution in the east of Russia. Unique location at a beautiful campus, high level of education, as well as premium Congress infrastructure has made it a forepost of Russian integration into the Asia-Pacific. Today, the university has 4 offices in Japan, Vietnam, India and China, and unites more than 23,000 students, including more than 3.5 international students from 74 countries. Model United Nations of the Russian Far East has already been based on the premises of our university for around 10 years. During this time, it has been closely collaborating with our university in the organization of lots of international youth events, such as Russia-ASEAN Youth Summit in 2015, regional program of the World Festival of Youth and Students 2017, and so on. Let me also congratulate Model United Nations of the Russian Far East on its 20th anniversary that took place this year. I'm delighted to see the growth of this organization into a really big organization that unites smart, ambitious and reliable young people to spread the knowledge of the United Nations and contribute to soft skills development of the Far Eastern youth. Also, Model United Nations is a role play. I believe that this conference is a training ground for the future leaders. During 5 days, you will need to follow protocol, represent the interests of your countries, and generally behave like professionals. I hope that participation in this conference will contribute to the enhancement of your soft skills and improving your knowledge of the major global issues. I wish you good luck and productive work.
This person has made a significant contribution to the development of the Model United Nations of the Russian Far East. Throughout his MUN career, he has acquired an immense experience both as a participant and organizer of a large number of MUN events in Russia and the USA. He has been devoted his time and numerous efforts serving as an organizer of many federal and international projects. Now he serves as a Sustainable Development Goal 9 Youth Ambassador. His inspiration and leadership within MUNRFE allowed him to perform the duties of the Secretary General of MUNRFE Annual Conference 2019. Currently, he is contributing to the development of MUNRFE by taking the leadership of the organization and by maintaining cooperation with strategic partners of MUNRFE. I draw your attention to the video message of MUNRFE Executive Director, Mr. Alexey Stanonis.
Dear participants and guests of the opening ceremony, on behalf of the Model United Nations of the Russian Far East, let me welcome you at MUNRFE Annual Conference 2020, the largest MUN conference at the Russian Far East. Indeed, the COVID-19 pandemic has made significant adjustments in each and every sphere of our life this year, when MUNRFE celebrates its 20th anniversary. However, MUNRFE successes keeps the tradition to go beyond the borders of the Russian Far East. Despite the pandemic, the year 2020 brought 2 position paper awards to the MUNRFE team to National Model UN in New York. Moreover, the members of the organization have become the youth envoys of the Sustainable Development Goals 1 and 9 in Russia. To maintain the safety of the participants and staff of the Annual Conference 2020, MUNRFE have decided to conduct the project online. However, thanks to the excellent work done by the Secretariat, you have an opportunity to try on a role of real diplomat, to discuss issues of global importance, to listen and to be heard, to convince and to agree online. Together with our key partner, Far Eastern Federal University, MUNRFE has put the toughest efforts to ensure the highest level of this significant MUN project on the Russian Far East in the current challenging situation. Along with the limitations, the online format gives unique opportunities. Erasing the borders, it made possible for MUNRFE to extend the frames of the traditional educational component of the conference and significantly increase the number of distinguished experts that represent our partners. The World Bank Group, United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific, United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees Representation in Russia, and many others. On behalf of MUNRFE, let me also express my gratitude to the Moscow Office of International Committee of Red Cross for their expert support in preparation of the simulation of United Nations Security Council. On behalf of Model United Nations of the Russian Far East, I wish you to enjoy the process and best of luck in debates, so the main prize to find the worthies. Good luck.
One of the main pillars of MUNRFE is based on the quality knowledge transfer and distribution of the best practices. This year, we are granted with the opportunity to have a special guest. The next speaker joined the World Bank in 2007 as a senior financial management specialist in the Africa region. He held various positions, including public financial management sector leader and practice manager in the governance global practice, both in the Africa region. Most recently, this keynote speaker served as a practice manager in the governance global practice in the Middle East and North Africa region. He has also overseen the digital governance community of practice. We draw your attention to the video address by Mr. Renaud Seligman, a country director for the Russian Federation, Europe and Central Asia, World Bank Office in Russia.
Good morning, dear participants. On behalf of the World Bank Group, I am very pleased to welcome you to the Model UN Far East Conference. Although the current COVID epidemic does not allow us to meet in person, it's really great that it's still possible to deliver this important event and to bring together enthusiastic young people who are interested about global development and to do it in a digital format. I hope you all stay safe and healthy in your homes. It's also great to know that the Far East UN model has been operating for already 2 decades, 20 years. There are so many young people who care about global development issues, who are engaged, and that is really exciting. I'm sure you will all have a chance to contribute to sustainable development goals and the development agenda throughout your life, and it's never too early to start. You know, sustainable development goals are going through a tough time at the moment, given the impact that the COVID pandemic is having on our global community objectives of reducing extreme poverty, of eliminating hunger, of allowing safe access to water and sanitation and other related goals. The World Bank Group as an institution is very committed to overcoming the current challenges in implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals and mobilizing the world on behalf of the poorest countries. And your role will be critical.
MUNRFE highly appreciates the assistance which the East and Northeast Asia Office of the United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific provided in organizing previous MUNRFE conferences. Thus, it is a special privilege to welcome our next speaker, who was appointed to the position of the head of the East and Northeast Asia Office of the United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific in January 2019. Furthermore, he, as a career diplomat, served as the ambassador of Mongolia to the Socialist Republic of Vietnam and the Republic of Korea. Right now, we are extremely delighted to welcome here our invited expert, Dr. Kanbol Basanjaf.
It's my pleasure to deliver these remarks for the Model United Nations of the Russian Far East Annual Conference 2020, and for students who have great interest in global agenda and the work of the United Nations. As you are aware, this year the United Nations launched the global consultation under the title of The Future We Want, the UN We Need, to celebrate its 75th anniversary. It was the world's largest conversation about current global challenges, participated by over 1 million people in survey and in national dialogues. The consultations identified both immediate and long-term priorities, including health, education, global solidarity, climate change, etc. This collective view serves as an important reference for the UN. I wish to highlight that 51% of participants in the survey were under 30 years old and 6% were under 15 years old. Thus, view and voice of the youth, the participants in this model UN, are important. In this regard, I wish to commend the organizers and participants of the model UN. It provides an important platform for students to try on the role of a diplomat representing a UN member state and discuss key global agendas. While we are already lagging behind the achievement of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, the COVID-19 pandemic has led to devastating socioeconomic impacts, reversing years of hard-won development gains. In particular, job losses combined with disruptions of education and training caused by the crisis are expected to have significant long-term effects on the development of young people. To build the future we want, we must apply a youth and intergenerational lens in crisis response and recovery measures. We must provide access to quality education to our young people and help them harness the benefits of digital technology. Youth are the future. Youth are also the present. Your voices and suggestions are crucial to shape the future we want and make it a reality. Building on the Model UN exercises, I hope you could actively contribute your innovative ideas to create better and more sustainable world for all. I wish you all fruitful exchanges and a successful conference. Thank you. Спасибо большое. Больших успехов вам, ребята.
This person has been working within the United Nations for 26 years. In 1994, he was appointed as a Deputy Regional Representative. From 2017, he occupies the position of Principal Emergency Coordinator, Emergency Service, Division of Emergency Security and Supply in the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. For the first time being, he performs the duties of the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees representative in Russia. Please pay your attention to the welcome video message of Mr. Vana Nupek.
Dear participants of the Model United Nations of the Russian Far East, it is a true pleasure to address you today with these short opening remarks. On December 14, UNHCR will mark its 17th anniversary. In fact, UNHCR was created in 1950 during the aftermath of the Second World War to help millions of Europeans who had fled or lost their homes. We had 3 years to complete our work and then disband. Today, over 70 years, our organization is still very hard at work protecting and assisting refugees around the world. Unfortunately, global forced displacement has been rising steadily in recent years. Today, more than 70 million people are forcibly displaced, double the level of 20 years ago. Conflicts have become more complex and interlinked, combined with the mega trends of climate change, population growth, rapid urbanization, food insecurity, and water scarcity. Forced displacement and humanitarian need will likely continue their troubling rise which is even further aggravated by the impact of the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic crisis. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the organizer for raising the topics of forced displacement during the Model United Nations and for your willingness to participate in the UNHCR promoted context, the Model United Nations Refugee Challenge. The non-governmental organization Model United Nations of the Russian Far East also celebrates 20 years since its founding and has played an extremely active role in student leadership, development, and youth empowerment. We hope to continue our close collaboration with you. This time, the participants of the Model United Nations of the Russian Far East will be discussing the impact of the climate change on displacement during the UN Environment Assembly simulation. I am very pleased that my colleague, Kin Shom, the Senior Policy Officer at the UNHCR Regional Bureau for Asia and the Pacific, will be virtually with you to interact on this very important and actual subject. I would like to end this short remark by wishing you a very fruitful discussion and also my personal best for your health and safety in these difficult times. Thank you.
Far Eastern Federal University is a forepost for Russian integration in the Asia-Pacific region. The exchange of knowledge and cultural features occupies an important place in the priorities of the university. Being the significant partners in the educational aspects, India and Russia are intensively developing relations with leading research and educational centers, state funds, and major Indian companies. Emphasizing the importance of our bilateral cooperation, we are delighted to welcome here the Consul General of India in Vladivostok, His Excellency Mr. Shashi Bhushan.
Respected President and the delegates at this year's conference, a warm greetings to all of you. It gives me immense pleasure to address you all today at the opening ceremony of the annual conference of the Model United Nations of the Russian Far East. Model United Nations is a unique platform wherein the youths discuss and debate over festering global problems and ponder over the ways in which governments tackle these issues. Such initiatives not only create awareness among the youth and make them a responsible global citizen, but also inculcate in them the skills of leadership and teamwork, which will stand them in good stead for their future. This year, it becomes rather more significant when the United Nations is celebrating 75th years of its foundation. India has always been a proud founding member of United Nations. If we were to make an objective assessment of the performance of United Nations over the last 75 years, we see several stellar achievements. But at the same time, there are also several instances to point to the need for a serious introspection of the work of the United Nations. Starting from January next year, India will be a non-permanent member of the Security Council for 2 years. India will be shouldering this responsibility along with 9 other non-permanent members in the Security Council. India has sent its soldiers to about 50 peacekeeping missions across the world. It has also lost maximum numbers of its soldiers in maintaining peace. India as a country representing 1.3 billion of mankind truly deserves an expanded role in the United Nations. Proposal to include India among the permanent members of the United Nations Security Council is supported by many countries, including the Russian Federation. I believe that the delegates here today, this year, apart from other topics, will also discuss the ways of reforming the United Nations to make it more relevant for today's challenges and to make it more equitable for all of the humanity. At last, I once again congratulate all the participants for this year's conference and wish them all the best for their future. Thank you.
It is our great pleasure to outline that MUNRFE conferences are being held in the capital of the Russian Far East and Primorsky territory, the city of Vladivostok. For the past years, Vladivostok has become an important strategic city for the Russian Federation in promotion of cooperation with the Asia-Pacific region. We are extremely proud to have such an important guest who had made a large contribution to the development of our region. Please welcome Attaché of the Representative Office of Russian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Vladislav Nikitin.
Greetings, dear friends, participants, and guests of this conference. I'm here with you from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Russian Federation representation in Vladivostok. First of all, thanks to the university administration and students from United Nations Model for the opportunity to be a speaker and for their efforts in preparation of today's event. As a graduated student from Far Eastern Federal University, it's a great pleasure for me to see the development and new initiatives set in my university. And what is even more significant, that lots of them are fulfilled in international level, engage in different structures and organizations. For example, creation of the United Nations Cabinet took place shortly before. As I know, this annual conference is the most successful and large-scale project of United Nations model on the Russian Far East. This framework exists from 2001, which shows a great, strong, and vivid interest from the youth. United Nations model emphasizing the significance of the real United Nations organization work in maintaining peace and stability in our world. Participants play roles of diplomats, representatives, or even leaders of free nations and discuss international problems in any spheres like ecology, international security, global economy, or even healthcare and many others. For our university, it's more valid to focus on Asia, but as I know, actually all relevant topics are being discussed usually. So practically, we have new specialists and new young leaders, which is great. Finally, let me one more time say the words of gratitude to organizers of this conference and signify the support from Russian Foreign Ministry representation in Vladivostok. I hope this framework will keep drawing young and eager people from different countries and call attention to international relations, explain on examples what is mutual trust, mutual understanding, and respect, fostering love to our history and its lesson, emphasizing the importance of international law and traditions. And in the end, to those students who really want to join, guys, heads up and smile. I think you will be welcome. Thank you.
Now it is high time to give a word to the person who has been in charge of the MUNRFE Annual Conference 2020 from the very beginning. Her hard work and creativity are among the reasons why this conference has become a reality. In 2019, she participated at the National Model UN in New York, the USA. After becoming a part of the outstanding delegation, guided by a strong aspiration for self-development, she occupied the position of a Secretariat officer at Far Eastern Model UN 2019 and 2020, as well as the Under-Secretary General for Political Affairs at the MUNRFE Annual Conference 2019. Besides, since 2016, she has been involved in the international advocacy for nuclear disarmament. Because of her devotion, she was appointed as a youth communicator for a world without nuclear weapons by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Japan. Currently, she is also an active member of the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty Organization Youth Group. Please pay your attention to the video message of the MUNRFE Annual Conference 2020 Secretary General, Ms. Galina Salnikova.
Dear participants of Model United Nations of the Russian Far East Annual Conference 2020, it's my greatest pleasure to address you as the Secretary General. For the first time, I have got acquainted with MUN when I was a high school student. At that time, I was already interested in nuclear non-proliferation and other international security issues. That is why knowing that there is an MUN club in FEFU made me really interested. Joining MUNRFE in 2017, I decided that I wanted to become a more convincing person that would inspire others. In 2018, I won the annual conference and took part in National Model UN 2019 in New York. That conference really changed my life, and I have become a more confident person that I have always wanted to be. I want the annual conference 2020 to become a changing point in your life as well. Although we are having online format this year, it brings more opportunities than challenges. For example, we have a wider range of participants from different parts of Russia and abroad. Also, for the first time in MUNRFE history, we are going to have a panel discussion, Northeast Asia on the way to the Agenda 2030, where a lot of different experts from international organizations are going to take part into. I want the annual conference 2020 to make you understand that a person can adapt to any conditions. I want you to train yourself to be flexible and adaptable. I want this conference to challenge you and show that there is no ever stopping point into growing. Challenge yourself, debate, inspire others, and inspire yourself. Good luck at the debates, and see you at the annual conference 2020.
Let us once again give enormous thanks to all keynote speakers at the opening ceremony of the MUNRFE Annual Conference 2020 for their precious words to all participants of the event. Having been conducted annually since 2001, the conference gives every participant an opportunity to try on the role of a real diplomat representing the interests of a chosen state while discussing global agendas in one of the available international institutions. The conference is organized with the support of the World Bank Russian Federation Office, the International Committee of the Red Cross, the Russian Federal Agency for Youth Affairs, Rosmolodezh, the ASEAN Center in Gimo University, UN High Commissioner for Refugee representative in Russia. All conference events are going to be conducted in an online format. Thus, it is important to highlight some basic rules all participants are to follow. The first, the official language of the conference is English. It means that the use of any other languages is not allowed. Keep your web camera on. To make sure that each and every delegate is fully involved in the debate, the Secretariat would request everyone to switch on web cameras. Delegates are expected to look and dress professionally. Business attire is appropriate. Minimize extra noises. Please keep your microphones off when you do not have anything to say. Raise a hand to raise a motion. To raise a motion during formal debate or to show that you have something to ask, you will need to raise your hand in Zoom. Next, we would like to remind you that during the conference events, you are to represent the diplomats of the assigned state. Because of that, we ask you to use all chats and online meetings with your colleagues appropriately. For example, without flooding, discussing personal views and issues not related to the agenda items. During formal discussions, delegates should not engage in debates and argue with each other directly. At no time will delegate use foul language or direct racial or ethnic slurs against a country or individual. We would like to stress your attention to the fact that to receive the certificate of participation, a delegate has to take part in all conference events. Opening and closing ceremonies, lectures with experts, panel discussion, all debate sessions. In case of any issue depriving a delegate from participating in any event, they shall notify their chairperson beforehand. Dear delegates, honorable Secretariat officers, ladies and gentlemen, at the moment, in order to start the plenary session of the United Nations General Assembly, I would like to give a floor to its president.
Thank you. Good afternoon, delegates. Let me welcome you at the MUNRFE Annual Conference 2020. Using the P3 power of the General Assembly President, I announce the plenary session open. We will start with the roll call. When I announce your country, please turn on your microphone and identify your status, whether you are present or present and vote. Afghanistan. Afghanistan. Argentina. Argentina. Australia. Australia. Bangladesh.
The representatives of Bangladesh are present.
Thank you, delegate. Brazil. Brazil.
Just a second, please.
Present and voting.
Yeah, present.
Thank you, delegate. Cambodia. Cambodia. China.
The delegation of the People's Republic of China is present and voting.
Thank you, delegate. Czech Republic. Czech Republic. Dominican Republic.
The delegation of the Dominican Republic is present and voting.
Thank you, delegate. Egypt. Egypt. Estonia.
The delegation of Republic of Estonia is present and voting.
Thank you. Fiji. Fiji. France.
The delegation of France is present and voting.
Thank you. Germany. Germany.
The delegation of Germany is present and voting.
India. India. Indonesia.
The delegation of Indonesia is present and voting.
Iran.
The delegation of Iran is present and voting.
Thank you. Japan.
The delegation of Japan is present and voting.
Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan. Lao PDR. Lao PDR. Lebanon. Lebanon. Malaysia.
The delegation of Malaysia is present and voting.
Thank you. Maldives.
The delegation of Maldives is present and voting.
Marshall Islands.
The delegation of Marshall Islands is present and voting.
Mongolia. Mongolia. Netherlands.
The delegation of the Kingdom of the Netherlands is present and voting.
Thank you. New Zealand. New Zealand. Niger.
The is present and voting.
Thank you. Pakistan.
Delegation of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan is present and voting.
Papua New Guinea.
The delegation of Papua New Guinea is present and voting.
Philippines.
The delegation of Philippines is present and voting.
Thank you. Poland. Poland. Qatar.
The delegation of Qatar is present and voting.
Republic of Korea.
The Republic of Korea is present and voting.
Thank you. Russian Federation.
The delegation of Russian Federation is present and voting.
Singapore. Singapore. Solomon Islands.
The delegation of Solomon Islands is present and voting.
Thank you. South Africa. South Africa. Spain. Spain. Sri Lanka.
The delegation of Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka is present and voting.
Thank you. Thailand.
The delegation of Thailand is present and voting.
Tunisia.
The delegation of Republic of Tunisia is present and voting.
Turkey.
The delegation of the Republic of Turkey is present.
United Arab Emirates.
The delegation of United Arab Emirates is present and voting.
United Kingdom.
The delegation of United Kingdom is present and voting.
United States of America.
The delegation of the United States of America is present and voting.
Vanuatu. Vanuatu.
The representatives of Republic Vanuatu is here and voting, is represented.
Thank you, delegate. Venezuela. Venezuela. Vietnam. Vietnam. Zambia. Zambia. Thank you, delegate. Now we have 20 delegations in total. Thus, the simple majority is 9 and the absolute majority is 12. Now we will move to the adoption of the agenda items for this session. The agenda items proposed are for the United Nations Environment Assembly, displacement, financing sustainable use for people and planet, for the United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific, achieve Sustainable Development Goal 7 in Asia and the Pacific, advancing science, technology, and innovation for the implementation of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, for the World Bank, appraisal and approval of development projects. Do you see any motions on the floor? There are no motions. That means that we are moving to voting for the list of the agenda items. Do you see any motions on? And thus, the delegates who are in favor of adoption of the following list of agenda items. Dear delegates, once again, those who are in favor of adopting the agenda items for the committees, please raise your hands. Thank you, delegates. You can put your hands down. Now the delegations who are against adopting these agenda items, please raise your hands. Now the delegations who abstain, please raise your hands. Thus, the agenda items are adopted. Are there any motions on the floor? See none. Thus, we move to taking note of the agenda of the Security Council, which is open agenda. I announce the plenary session adjourned, and I give the word back to the host of the ceremony.
Now we would like to make several announcements regarding the next events in frames of the MUNRFE Annual Conference 2020. At 5:30 p.m., the next event of the conference take place, committee lectures, delivered by our esteemed guests. It is followed by the committee sessions at 7 p.m. The second day will include sessions which start at 12 p.m. and panel discussion. Noteworthy that panel discussion will be joined by respectful speakers from Russia, Philippines, Japan, and as well as the UN ISCAP. The following days will consist of sessions starting at 12 p.m. Dear delegates, honorable Secretariat officers, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we sincerely hope that you enjoyed the opening ceremony of the MUNRFE Annual Conference 2020. It is high time to wish good luck to the delegates and the brightest successes in their performances during the conference. Now you can have a break until 5:30 p.m. Please disconnect and leave the YouTube translation. The DCM officers will send you the Zoom link to the committee lectures and debates. Please stay updated and don't miss the start of further events.